Alex Pereira is the new light heavyweight champion after defeating Jiri Prochazka at UFC 295. It was a crazy fight, a lot of things to talk about. We're gonna go step by step, but first, obviously the big talk of the town right now, was it an early stoppage?
I think it was. It was so weird because when I was watching the fight, I thought that Mark Goddard was pausing the fight because of a back of the head shot, and then all of a sudden it's done. It was such a weird ending. But I definitely think it was an early stoppage. It was so strange. I didn't expect it to be stopped. It looked like he hurt Prochazka, but he definitely wasn't out. And in a championship fight like that, I would have hoped to have seen that he wouldn't pull the trigger so early.
And Mark Goddard's done this multiple times. He did this with Pereira's first fight against Adesanya. He did it with the fight with Sterling and O'Malley. He just has a history of early stoppages in title fights. We're going to make a separate video on this, probably tomorrow, going over why he sucks as a referee. But let's just dive into the fight. First round, what did you see?
First round, obviously the leg kicks. Jiri Prochazka is so heavy on that front leg, and although he does switch stances, he has a preference for the orthodox stance. And he relies so heavily on leaning forward, putting a lot of pressure on that front foot, and Alex Pereira was just cracking his leg, and that definitely affected his striking a lot. And then the wrestling, I don't know why Alex Pereira keeps trying to pull guillotine. Every time he does it, he gets taken down, but he shows that he's able to get back up. But in my opinion, it's clear it was the leg kicks were definitely the talking point, which I've been saying that Alex Pereira had the best leg kick since the Adesanya fights.
I liked how Alex Pereira, the commentators were saying Alex Pereira likes to kind of just chill there and just like lay on the ground. But with 25 seconds left, he got back up knowing that he could maybe turn the tide of the round there. Like you were saying, the leg kicks were very big. Jiri was landing the bigger shots in terms of the boxing, but obviously with
that
MMA...
was more in the second round though, right?
Well, even then, Alex Pereira didn't land, I don't remember any punches in the first round. So, but it's with MMA, it's kickboxing and boxing. And then at the end of the rounds, they normally show like Twitter, what people are saying on Twitter. A lot of people gave it to Prochazka. I don't understand that. Alex Pereira was landing the better leg kicks, and it was by damage. Jiri Prochazka didn't do any damage on the ground. He did a couple elbows, but they were partial lands, and Pereira was blocking them for the most part.
I think that sometimes judges score headshots too much. Hitting to the leg counts. It counts, and especially with how hard he was hitting to the legs, it was kind of funny to see that Jiri Prochazka was acknowledging that he hit him hard to the leg. He would just be like, okay, like you would nod at him, which is kind of strange. You don't want to see that from the fighter that you're rooting for, acknowledge shots that he's taking. But those leg kicks were just way too brutal, and the judges should be scoring those highly. I would highly doubt if the judges gave Jiri Prochazka the first round, but the leg kicks were definitely the story of that first round and the entire fight, I would say.
Yeah, the leg kicks, it's like in like the first 20 seconds, at least in the first minute, obviously fights go by pretty fast, Pereira landed 4 big leg kicks and he was already struggling to walk. And we saw that in the second round. Prochazka was struggling to move on that foot, but he did land a lot of big shots on Pereira. I don't think Pereira has the greatest chin in the world, but what we can say about Pereira is he recovers very well. We saw it in the Adesanya fight, the first one, where he got cracked in the first round, and the second round was just like a new Pereira. He recovers extremely well, which is huge at the light heavyweight division moving forward.
Yeah, his defense on that right overhand, because he keeps that left hand down, very sus. I mean, that's how he got hit by Adesanya. Both times he got stunned by Adesanya was the right overhand because he keeps that left hand low. Prochazka was hitting him with that right hand, so I was a little concerned with that. But Alex Pereira is a kickboxing expert, and our prediction was the fact that because Alex Pereira is a kickboxing expert, if you play that game with him, you're going to lose. If it was a boxing fight, you could say maybe Jiri Prochazka might have taken it. But kickboxing, leg kicks are there. Jiri Prochazka's footwork and his whole entire way of moving was completely taken away because he's so reliant on that front foot. Not only does he have to put a lot of weight on that leg, which hurts if you've been taking so many kicks to the calf, but he's also way more cautious because of the leg kicks. So he would maybe consider, okay, maybe I can't go on that front foot so much, maybe I have to go on the back foot, but that would take away a lot of the ways that Jiri Prochazka sets up his strikes.
And then with the finishing sequence, we all know that Prochazka was landing some bigger shots. There were a couple times with Pereira, I was like, oh shoot, because we've seen him hurt like that before. We saw in the 2 Adesanya fights, we saw him hurt like that. So I was like, okay, maybe one more shot. But he would eat the shot and he hit an overhand right that partially landed, and then a perfectly placed left hook that took Prochazka down. And Prochazka was trying to grab him because obviously he was hurt. And then he fell back on his legs, like Pereira was saying in the post-fight interview. And Pereira had mount on him. It was an early stoppage. It was inevitable that I think Pereira would have finished the fight. I think we can both say that.
Yeah.
But Mark Goddard, man, it was like the Sterling fight and the Adesanya Pereira fight the first time. You gotta let these guys go out in these kind of scenarios. You can't be doing this over and over. Clearly hasn't learned his lesson, but I do believe that Pereira would have finished him anyways because that left hook was just too brutal and too perfectly placed.
Yeah, I was concerned because I'm a big Alex Pereira fan, so I was concerned because it looked like he was a little bit hurt. So I was wondering if maybe one more shot would have taken him out, but partially landed that right overhand and then that left hook. That left hook, some people were saying his power was overrated. I think Lucas Tracy, we know Lucas Tracy a little bit, so I kind of caught him a little bit. But he was saying his left hook is overrated because he was showing shots where Pereira would hit like Adesanya or Blachowicz. That left hook, the reason why Alex Pereira's left hook is so deadly in my opinion is not necessarily the power, but it's the accuracy. This one was right on the nose, I think. And on the other ones are on the chin. It's all about the accuracy, and Alex Pereira's left hook is so accurate, especially in those close spaces like that. Being able to land a left hook like that is so impressive. And then, like you said, Jiri Prochazka shoots a takedown. When you're hurt, taking those shots to the side of the head, repeated shots to the side of the head, and then the elbows, obviously that's going to do a lot of damage to Jiri Prochazka. That's why he just fell on his back. Obviously didn't need to fall on his back. And then Alex Pereira had mount. It's inevitable they would have been finished, but I would have liked to see champions fight for it. And I feel like all it does is it takes away from the winner. Yeah. Because then there's this conversation, did this person actually win? Did this person actually win? Alex Pereira had a great performance. It was a competitive fight. I'm not going to say it wasn't a competitive fight, and it's not a bad thing that it wasn't a competitive fight. Jiri Prochazka is a great striker. Alex Pereira did a great job with the leg kicks, neutralizing the striking, allowing him to play his game, which was the kickboxing game, because Jiri Prochazka doesn't throw too many kicks, so Alex Pereira allowed it to be a kickboxing game. And like I said before, if you play kickboxing with Alex Pereira, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and like you were kind of feeding off what we were saying about the stoppage, a lot of people were booing at the end of the fight. That's what you're doing, Mark Goddard, when you're stopping these fights early. It's a shame. I saw some people even commenting that Prochazka was going for the takedown. It's like, dude, he fell on his back and Pereira had him mounted. He would have been finished anyways. But let's look at what he said in the post-fight interview, which said he wanted Adesanya next. I believe he wanted Adesanya next because he knows he can beat him at light heavyweight.
I would love to see that fight. I remember I wanted Adesanya to beat Strickland, and I don't like Adesanya. I feel like I made it clear. I don't like Adesanya. But I wanted Adesanya to beat Strickland because I want Alex Pereira to get that win back. But my thing with this fight, I don't think it's realistic. I can see why Alex Pereira wants it because he knows he's better than him, and this is a big money fight for him. But I can't see how he would win because I don't know anyone in the top 5 in light heavyweight that Adesanya would beat.
If they do a quick turnaround and maybe at UFC 300, imagine having Adesanya Pereira at UFC 300. I can see that. It's a big money fight. Pereira, Jamal Hill's a good matchup for him, but Jamal Hill hits pretty hard. I think those odds are going to be a lot more skewed toward Pereira than what they probably should be. And then Adesanya, I think he beats Adesanya. I'm pretty confident in saying that. But the new light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see a southpaw fight Alex Pereira because he's been so reliant on that. Leg kick. But Jamal Hill fights southpaw primarily. He fights both stances, so that'll be an interesting fight. But it depends when Jamal Hill will be back. Honestly, they could even throw Adesanya in there if Alex Pereira's ready because Ankalaev tied and then Blachowicz is coming.
They do a quick turnaround. Pereira seems to like being active. There's not much going on in the light heavyweight division right now.
He's 36 as well, so it's his time now.
And Jamal Hill's not quite ready yet. They could make that fight, and maybe it's next. So you guys leave your comments down below. Let us know what you thought about the fight, and we'll see you guys next time.
Alex Pereira, champ.